I haven't run the exact commission dollars, but I know it's probably close to 30 plus thousand, if not closer to 40,000. So it's a very good month. I was very happy about that.
You, my friend, are agent of the month.
Yes. That's awesome. Thank you.
Congratulations,
That
buddy.
was one of my goals when I started with Juicebox was to get agent of the month at some point. I'm just glad it happened during my son's birth month. Very excited.
For context for everybody else, because I think some people may not know your journey, right? And so I think what is so neat is that you started out about a year ago, right? In agentship, and you were just tired of that hamster wheel, right? Buying the leads and you're always stuck in the final expense and the mortgage protection. Graduated out of that and moved on to agentship plus the marketing. You've also become a partner agent as well. Can you quantify roughly to you and your family, like what does that mean commission wise for you? You said this is the biggest month you've ever had in your career. Last count, I think we've got what, $95,000 in IUL premium in October and what, $250 in annuity premium?
Pretty much. I got a Kaizen call this afternoon with Mike. Hopefully that goes through. That'll be a $50,000 a year policy for the next 5 years. So that's exciting. That same client, I wrote a 6K IUL on his wife, 6K IUL on his oldest son, 6K IUL on his youngest son, doing a $65,000 annuity on him. And I might also get a $200,000 annuity on him. We'll see. And then one of my old Aflac clients reached out to me on the weekend and said, "Hey, I see you do retirement planning now. Do you have anything where I can park a bunch of money that's safe?" I said, "As a matter of fact, I do. Let's have a Zoom call on Sunday." So he and I are meeting this coming Sunday. Probably be at least $100,000 annuity. So I haven't run the exact commission dollars, but I know it's probably close to 30 plus thousand, if not closer to 40,000. So it's a very good month. I was very happy about that.
When we were down at the Grove, so the Grove is, of course, our mastermind on the partner side. This was, I think, the middle of September.
Correct. Game changer.
Okay, because I was wondering, right? Because we met in the middle of September and now October is the biggest month that you've ever had. Did something happen there to contribute to that?
Well, I think it was a combination of things that were building that culminated in my trip to the Grove. Two main factors as to the turnaround in KJ and advisors and how we're doing much better. The first one is my mantra, which is discipline. Discipline has become my go-to word every single day. It's building good habits. It's stacking those habits on top of each other. And right to the right of me, I have, move my chair out of the way, a phrase that says discipline leads to habits, habits lead to consistency, and consistency leads to growth. So when it comes to discipline, it's reading more. It's waking up earlier. It's watching all of Jim's training videos. And one of the main benefits too has been my concerted effort to interact and engage more with the community. And to that point, I've developed very strong relationships. Two of my best friends are now, people I've met through Juicebox, and we collaborate on a weekly basis and share ideas back and forth. And that's one of the keys to learning that Jim talks about. It's you hear something, you read something, then you interact with people about it, you teach on it, and that's how learning is done to the highest level. So it's discipline has really been my mantra. And the second part was my wife really becoming actively involved in our business, making it the family business. Her basically being our director of operations at home and helping keep me accountable, reminding me of things so that they don't slip through the cracks, helping with appointments and stuff like that. We're looking in 2024 to probably get her licensed so she can be even more involved. So it's the two main things have been discipline, consistency as one, and then the support and help from my amazing, wonderful super wife.
In terms of the actual Grove, like the event, what kind of learnings or lessons do you think came out of that specifically?
Well, I think a lot of what really helped was I learned to get out of my own way, and I learned to be more confident in my own abilities. I had just some great...
What was the change?
I was more fear-driven before, where I felt that I was unable to do things and needed people to do them for me, which I think is something that a lot of agents can fall into the trap of, constantly wanting to co-sell because you don't have confidence that you can close on your own. And just getting to see some of the other producers and talk to them and interact with them and pick their brains on certain things, I realized I'm a lot better than I thought I was. I can do this. There's no reason I can't. And they helped to build that confidence in me. I had a great conversation with Seth. We bonded over the fact that we both like Star Wars. I've learned a lot from him, and I have done some co-selling with him, and he's phenomenal and deserves all the praise in the world. But I learned that, there are things that I can do and be the best version of me, where I don't have to try to mimic or imitate someone else and still have success. A change in my process was I now have a dedicated call simply to the plan. So we qualify them first. I get as much information as I can to start a forecaster. And I do a planning call now intentionally to make sure all the information in the forecaster is as accurate as possible. And B, this is now the time where I really dig at the problem, because people don't buy things that make sense. They buy solutions to problems they're fully aware of and have an intense desire to solve. So in my planning call, I really try to hone in on the problem. And one of the things that I started doing in the beginning of my planning call is I use the About Us slide deck to really, again, reinforce that I'm a professional, that I am backed by this team that I've partnered with through the JBP group. I pull up my website for KJ and Advisors. I pull up the JBP group website. If it's a TSP lead, I pull up the TSP website and show them, we are legit. And that builds a lot more credibility. So now when I go into the forecaster, they are more engaged and more willing to give me the answers. And, oh, you know what? I said that was 40,000. It's more like 43 and a half, so that those numbers become more accurate. And then I'm able to pull that problem better. So when I tell them, okay, look, now that I have a really good idea of what the financials look like, and you and I know this is what we're trying to solve, let me get with my team. We'll put a plan together for you. Give me 3 days. We'll get on Zoom again and go through it. Does that make sense, or is that fair? Absolutely. And I've been able to close some annuities on my own. It's like Jim always says, you have to get the base hits, stack the small wins. Mark talks about it too. He's like, you got to close those $30,000 cases, those $20,000 cases. And then when the big ones come, you need the extra support, you get it. But for the most part, I was afraid to even do the little ones. And now I'm realizing I can do this. And that's been a big change in my own mental state, is confidence that has come along with the interactions and conversations I had with folks at the Grove.
No, and I really appreciate you sharing that. I'm curious to know, what does the lack of confidence before look like compared to where you are now? How is now different, that confident October? How is that different than previously in terms of what would somebody see differently about Kevin?
I think prior to this new concerted effort to be more disciplined and in the interactions I had at the Grove, my mindset was I can't. Now my mindset is I can. And I don't ever doubt myself anymore. I got great advice from Scott in terms of you just have to be willing to walk away from a sale. Like, you're not going to close everything, and it's not the end of the world. Just move on to the next one. And that helped flip a switch in my mind where I don't know if you ever saw the movie Tommy Boy. Anyone in sales should see the Chris Farley classic Tommy Boy. But there's a great moment when Tommy has this epiphany that, well, I got nothing to lose, so I'm just going to do it. And having that fear removed from your heart and your mind is freeing and allows you to just roll with it and just go. So that has made all the differences, not being scared to realize my own potential and abilities. Because
you've kind of gone, from the agentship, and you've moved on to agentship plus, and you've, gone through that graduation process. What do you say to the people who are maybe starting out in agentship this week? What do you say to those people who are starting out? What are the lessons that you've learned in a little over a year now with Jucebox? Discipline,
consistency. One of the reasons it took me as long as it did to get to this point, where I believe I probably could have had this type of success sooner, was I let outside sources and events in my life kind of derail me. I was starting and stopping. This is a very difficult business. It's a very lonely business. So I recommend, number one, finding a mantra, staying consistent, and doing the little things every single day, because they do matter and they do add up. Don't stop once you've had some success. Don't pull a Kevin, have a great July or June, and then all of a sudden you don't work as hard in July, and now you're trying to make up for that time that you've lost. Reach out to the community, build relationships, start weekly Zoom meetings with peers, just so you have other people to interact with and bounce ideas off of. Go to every single training call. Even if you don't have something to contribute, be there, learn, and listen. We were on a sales coaching call this last week with Seth, and some of the stuff he said, I just kept pulling golden nuggets from him. I was like, oh, this is why you go to these calls every week. Even on case planning calls, if you don't have a case to plan, you're going to learn from watching other people case plan. And that level of support from the Juicebox community, the Juicebox team, has really made all the difference in my career. And I'm just very grateful to be a part of this family.
Hey, we're grateful to have you here, buddy. Before we do end, just thinking about tools. So again, I like talking to those, the folks in agentship, right? They're starting off that journey. They're newer to the business. You've kind of gone through that and you've, again, moved on. Just in terms of tools. So I think of tools as, scripts and processes and CRM and forecaster and presentation and coaching calls and all of that. What do you think, if you could just say where you are right now? For the people in agentship, what is that most important tool to get, to really get your hands into and learn quickly? What would you say to those people?
I would say dive into the classroom, really go in through all of the different training videos, put it into your calendar, build in time. I have on the whiteboard in front of me, did you train today? And I break it into 2 30-minute blocks. Because when you see all the videos and it can sometimes feel overwhelming, but if you set small attainable goals, then it makes that task a lot easier. It's one of the things I realized when it came to my own self-education and reading more. If you just do one chapter 3 times a day, morning, lunchtime, and right before bed, next thing you know, you read a book in a week. Well, maybe not that fast, but a month. So in terms of training, set a timer. I have a timer right on my desk for 30 minutes. Pick a video, get started. If there's still time when you finish that video, go to the next one in the series. And then after 30 minutes, stop, refresh your mind, take a walk, grab a coffee, and then do it one more time throughout the day. And the next thing you know, you've completed all the trainings. And if you can, I try to take notes or at least jot down things that I felt were important to go back to them again later on down the road. I think I've watched Jim's forecaster training about 20 times at this point, still trying to master that thing because it's the greatest tool we have, but it can feel overwhelming. So, I mean, yeah, that's my best advice is definitely dive into the training and make it a priority.
Our agent of the month in October 2023, Kevin, congratulations to you, my friend. So well deserved. And we even get the graphic. We even get the fireworks. That was not intentional. I think what we're showing is that there's a couple of nerds on this call right now. So
we are I appreciate you, Gary.
Hey, congratulations on your biggest month, my friend. This is just a start. Consistency, that discipline will continue, and love seeing the wonderful results. Congratulations to you. And thank you, buddy.